Loyal Creatures by Morris Gleitzman is a fascinating war novel. It is about a young guy called Francis, Frank for short, who wants to go fight in the war, but his father had promised his past mother that neither of them would. They got told from their community that they should go to war and finally accepted that they had to go. Throughout this book, it gives a detailed and realistic view of the emotions and losses that a young Australian boy would have to endure in the war. The main character would be Frank, as it is written in his own words. The book goes through the characters getting ready for the war, travelling, training, and all their tasks in the war. It really gets you into the mind of what the war was actually like. At the start, it was really slow and not that interesting, but I guess it made it realistic. I'm really glad I had hope for the book, as I was flabbergasted yet intrigued at some moments. Frank ran into many problems throughout the story as he lost many people he was close to. These challenges made him more determined and empowered him in the war. Joan, who isn't explained in great detail, is a character I was fascinated by. However, I would have liked to hear more about her life and if she liked Frank. I also would like to know why her family is extremely against Frank. I can relate to the main character Frank because I have also experienced the troubled grief from the loss of a loved one. As I could feel along with him, I feel I understood the character and the magnitude of his loss. When I finished the book, my feeling looking back over it is that it was a really nice story and fascinating book, but is a little bit gory at some points throughout it. The anticipation in Frank as he and his father journeyed to the war shines out as my favourite part of this novel. However, throughout the story, Frank losing so many people made me wonder if it would be a sad or happy ending. By removing some of the length of the introduction, Frank and the concept of the war at the beginning and putting more length into his life after the war would have been an improvement, as I felt he had made so many goals that we never got to see if these things eventuated. I would recommend this novel to someone who is interested in historical fiction, someone who is interested in war but not necessarily in a factual account of it. I would rate this novel 3 out of 5 stars, as though it was a really good book, but it was not extraordinary. I would recommend this book to an audience who reads regularly, as the beginning of the story isn't very intriguing, and an uninterested reader would find it hard to get through this part. It was interesting yet simple, heartwarming story about an Australian boy in 19